need to calm down, girl. Like, I'm not that interesting. What has gone on here? Someone has come along and they have had a lovely time in Ireland. It was actually my 4th time in Ireland this year. I really do feel like Ireland is my second home. Everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. Today I feel like I have a lot to update you on because in my life there have been 2 fires. I'm going to talk about also my trip to Ireland and also my Netflix red carpet event in London that I went to the other day, and also how I embarrassed myself a little bit there as well. But anyway, before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. So Christmas is around the corner. It's currently December, so what are you waiting for? Get all of your equestrian and country needs from Red Post, and be sure to head to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Also, before we start, I have another announcement. So in the last episode, I'm pretty sure I talked a little bit about how so many of you guys have been posting your Spotify Wrapped and been sending them to me, which has been, honestly, melts my heart so much. Incredible. Especially as we only started the podcast, I want to say like March 2023. So we haven't even been doing the podcast for a year yet. And a lot of you had my podcast as your top podcast, which is incredible. But what I didn't realize is that when you're a Spotify creator, you actually get your own Spotify Wrapped for your podcast, or if you're an artist for your music, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I got one. I'm just going to quickly look at it on my phone. So it says your top placement. So because the podcast was number 1 in the charts, we have the peak in podcast charts, number 1, which again, just want to say a huge thank you. I think that was in the leisure category, which is quite cool. And then also it says the amount of weeks in the charts, and you guys have made the podcast be in the charts for 32 weeks. That is so long. And again, we haven't even done the podcast for a year yet. Maybe we should do some sort of like celebration for when it's 1 year. But anyway, I just wanted to say that and just say huge. God, I said huge a lot of times then, but really, I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. But anyway, let's get into what I have to talk to you about, because like always, there is a lot to update you on. So starting off, I thought I would talk to you about the 2 fires that have happened in the last week. So the first one, I feel a bit bad about because, so I've had a bit of car troubles with, I was going to say my old car now, I don't have that car anymore, but anyway, my car's been in the garage a lot, it's had a lot of issues. So recently, while my brother is at university, he lives quite a few hours away now, but he's left his car at my parents' house. So I have been borrowing my brother's car recently, which has been actually quite fun because I'm used to driving an automatic and that's a manual. So I've gone back to manual again because I learned how to drive in like a manual. And I think I had my manual for like 2-3 years. Anyway, for quite a while. So at first I thought, I might struggle going back to having a gear stick and everything, but it's like riding a bike. Once you get back in, you just have to know where the like biting point is so you don't stall to start with, which when I first, hit her up, I did stall once when I was reversing. But anyway, it's all good. I can still drive manual, so I've been driving that recently. And anyway, the other day, just like wasn't even far, just drove from my parents' house to my house, which is like less than 4 minutes down the road. Like it's literally 2 lanes away. Anyway, drove there, and when I arrived at my house, I thought, oh, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't smell good. Something's gone wrong. So I saw all this smoke coming from the bonnet. Now, it was kind of like a steamy smoke. It wasn't like oh my goodness, the car is on fire. But it was enough where I was a bit concerned. And also, this isn't my car. Now, if you want to know, my brother's car is actually our old family car that I think we got when I was probably about 7 or something. We've had it for years and years, and it's just kind of like been passed down to my brother. But anyway, so I was driving that, and so it was a bit of an older car. And yeah, I was like, oh goodness, Max is going to be so upset if I have destroyed his car. So I lift up the bonnet, especially as it's kind of like our childhood car as well. Like we've had so many memories in there. So anyway, lifted up the bonnet and it was proper smoking. So I sent a video. I feel like this is what if you're not a car girl, this is what probably a lot of girls would also do. But I sent a video to my dad. My dad is very much like a car person. So sent the video and I was like, is this concerning? Now, at first, my dad, like, he's a pretty chill guy. He was like, don't worry, it's all good. Like, because sometimes, because it's such an old car and we haven't actually driven it that much, sometimes it does smoke or steam a little bit. That sounds so bad, because it just sits there. I think there's a lot, because, and we live in the countryside, we have like a lot of mice and wildlife, so we thought, oh, it's just some mice that have made like a little nest in there in the exhaust pipe or something, or I don't know, there's been some leaves and they've burnt off a little bit or something like that. So he was like, nah, it's fine. Anyway, carry on driving this car for a little while, and the smoky steam stuff continues, and I was like, oh goodness, I should probably get my dad to have a proper look at this. And he looked at me and was like, we should probably take it to the garage. Anyway, it's all been sorted out now. What was actually wrong with it? Like, it just needed a new something or other, and it was like some sort of, was it coolant that was leaking? Yeah, it was coolant that was leaking out of the car. I'm definitely not a car person, but that is my car knowledge for you all. But anyway, the car is now fixed. The childhood car is still on the road. So Max, when you come back from uni, don't worry, your car is not on fire. There was actually once, I think in the family group chat, when I borrowed Max's car again for whatever reason, and my dad Googled the exact same make as my brother's car, the exact same like colour, everything, and then searched that car on fire in Google, and then sent it to the family group chat and said, R.I.P. Max's car, Esme has set it on fire. And I was like, and my brother thought it was real because it did look so real, like the photo. And Max was like, oh my goodness, Es, how could you do that? You only drove it like once. And I was like, Max is not on fire. I promise you it's not. It's all good. So this time Max's car has actually become on fire, but like a very, very little small one, like a little smoky fire. But it's all good now. It's all fine. And it's past its MOT. So that is all good. Anyway, that was the first fire of the week, and then the second fire of the week was luckily none of these were major fires, but I decided, you know what, time to take Casper to the woods, to the forest. We'll go on a lovely hack, take some content for Lumia. I think it was for their Black Friday content, that kind of thing. Anyway. Actually, no, Black Friday's been and gone. It wasn't for that. That was a different thing. I'm getting my days mixed up. December is a busy time for me. Anyway, decided, yeah, I'll take Caspy for a little hack. That'll be fun. He loves a little leg stretch. It's one of his favourite places. Go there. Oh my goodness. I was like, what has gone on here? There was smoke everywhere, and I looked over it, and basically, because it's kind of like a heathland, there's a lot of gorse or like these bushes, and every now and again they kind of like burn them all down, and it's kind of like a controlled wildlife, like the forestry commission kind of thing, like just burn it down every now and again. So anyway, we arrived, and Casper was like, what has gone on here? Someone has come along and they have set my forest on fire, even though Casper, the forest does not belong to you, but he is one of those horses where he's like, this is my turf, this is my place. Oh, you should have seen him when our neighbour's sheep once escaped into our field, and oh my goodness, Casper was not a happy bunny. He was bucking, he was running around, he had his ears back, he was like not attacking the sheep, but he was definitely telling them, get off my turf, this is not your land, I am the king here. So anyway, that was interesting. So poor little Caspy, he was like so confused. He was like, what is going on here? And to be fair, horses probably are programmed in their DNA to be scared of fires, because I feel like most animals and people and things, you know, fires, hot, don't go near them. It's pretty sensible behaviour. So anyway, Casper was very well behaved, actually. He trusted me. There was one bit where we had to kind of walk past a smoky bit, which probably wasn't very good for any of our lungs, but we managed to get out of the fire kind of area, and we went on a different route this time, so that was all good. But yeah, it literally looked like some sort of apocalypse had happened, because, you know, this is our kind of normal trek or normal trail that we go on all the time, and it just looked totally different. Like, it was covered in ash. It looked like something from some apocalypse film. But anyway, so that was a little bit different. So they are the two fires that have happened in my life recently. They say things come in three, so hopefully there is not a third fire, touch wood. But anyway, moving swiftly on, I thought I would talk to you all about my trip to Ireland, because that was recent as well. I feel like I've done so much in the last week. I feel like as soon as Christmas happens, I'm going to sleep for a week. You know that there's always that week in between Christmas and New Year where everyone just like chills out. That is when I'm going to rest. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, our trip to Ireland. This time I didn't steal somebody's laptop going through security at the airport. So that was good. But yeah, we had like a good flight, everything like that. I feel like normally there's something that goes wrong. To be fair, our flight on the way home was delayed. But you know what? Can't complain. Wasn't too bad. But yeah, no, had a lovely time. It was so lovely to see you all. This time we decided to do like a ticketed meet and greet just so then it would be a lot calmer, a lot better organised as well. And it also meant that people weren't hanging around or waiting for ages. Like everyone had like a time slot. They knew when they were coming. But yeah, it was lovely to see you all. Anyway, something that the owner of this tack shop loves to do. He had bagpipes. And last time there was bagpipes as well. And I can't like, my dad actually, because while I was doing meet and greets, he actually put an Instagram story up for me. And he put, pretending to be me, he put, everywhere I do meet and greets, I now demand bagpipes. I'm such a diva, or something along those lines. And I was like, Dad, why did you put that up? Like, some people are not going to get the sarcasm and they are going to think that I'm actually some sort of pretentious YouTuber kind of person, which is not me at all. So but yeah, it's just like the weirdest experience, and I don't know how, like, I'm sure that there are some people that absolutely love all the attention, all the spotlight on them, but I am not that person. Like he was like, no, don't get out the car. Yeah, I need to open the door for you, and like that's just not me. That's not my style. But I was like, okay, and then walked out to like these bagpipes playing, and like all of you guys were there, which was so lovely. I loved saying hello to you all. But yeah, I still find it, like, I get asked this all the time, like when I do meet and greets, there's like a whole crowd. Like I do still find it quite overwhelming, and I feel like it's something that you'll never get used to. But anyway, but it was so lovely to see you all. I felt like we all had I had a lot more time where I could chat to people, had a good old chin wag. It was lovely hearing about you guys and your riding stories and that kind of thing. So that was so lovely. Also, quite a few of you drew pictures of the horses, and there were a few where they had my boyfriend's dog Ruby in them. So I was like taking photos of all the drawings and sending it to him, and he was like, oh my gosh, my doggy has like fan pictures. And yeah, anyway, that was really cute and really wholesome. So yeah, had a really lovely time. So we were in the north to start with, and then we drove down to the south, and it all went really smoothly. Actually, I was going to say, normally, you guys know me, there's always something that goes wrong or something that's a little bit wild that happens, but no, I've just had a lovely old time. Also, I did learn something while I was out there in Ireland, and I was talking to my boyfriend about it last night, and he was like, no, that everyone just knows this. So I feel like I need to have a little confession to you guys here, because I feel like a fake country person that I didn't know this thing. And I feel like every now and again as an adult, you find out something like this, and you're like, how did I go my whole life without knowing this piece of information? Like, it's not even that important or that interesting, but I thought I would tell you. But anyway, because I was talking to my boyfriend about this, and he was like, yeah, no, everyone knows this. But while I was in Ireland, one of the guys at the tack shop was like, oh, do you want the keys to the Jeep? And I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be great, because I needed to get something from the car or put something in there. I can't remember. Anyway, I thought he just got his brands mixed up, because this car was a Land Rover. So I was like, oh, And then we were talking about it earlier, and I heard another Irish person call, their car that was a 4x4 a Jeep when it wasn't a Jeep. And I was like, do you guys call like 4x4s Jeeps? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, but it's not a Jeep though. That's like a brand of car. So for me, I was like so confused. But apparently it's just what a lot of people call normal cars. Because to be fair, I feel like over here in the UK, a Jeep isn't that common of like a car brand. Like, I don't know anyone with a Jeep. You don't see Jeeps very often. I feel like it's a very like American car. Maybe that's just because I got onto Sweet 16 TikTok, which I enjoyed quite a lot. I loved like seeing like parties and things like that, just because I feel like Sweet 16 just isn't as big of a thing over here in the UK. But like the car that like every girl wanted in like America, maybe this is like such a stereotype, or maybe this is just the side of TikTok that I was on, but all the girls like wanted like a white Jeep. And I feel like over here in the UK, that is definitely not like a first car. Like, I feel like the first car that people in the UK get is like a Corsa, or I don't know. Yeah, basically. So very, very different cars. But yeah, so that's what I found out today, that apparently people call 4x4s Jeeps, even if they're not a Jeep. So there we go. That's something I learned today. Please let me know in the comments if you guys didn't know that as well, because I feel really silly that I didn't know that. I just thought, cool, these people are really getting their car brands mixed up. So anyway, that's something I learned. But yeah, had a lovely time in Ireland. It was actually my 4th time in Ireland this year. I really do feel like Ireland is my second home. So yeah, thank you to everyone at Team Ireland who said hello. I had a lovely old time. What else have I been up to recently? Oh, I need to tell you. So I have been away quite a lot. As you guys know, I've been to Ireland. I was in London the other night. So recently when I've met up with my boyfriend, he's come to my house rather than me go to his. So I haven't actually seen his dog Ruby for a while. Oh my goodness, I saw her for we were probably apart for about a week. Like I see her like multiple times a week, but this time I hadn't seen her for over a week. And when I went to his house, oh my goodness, it was the sweetest thing. She was so excited to see me. Now, she is a Labrador. She gets excited to see all humans. She is a very friendly dog. But when I tell you, I think I was with her for about 20 minutes, half an hour. She was just bouncing off the walls, and she had been for a really long walk that afternoon as well, so it's not like she just had loads of energy. She was just genuinely so excited to see me, she just couldn't contain herself, and it was the sweetest thing. And I've just never seen her so excited. I was like, Ruby, you need to calm down, girl, like I'm not that interesting. But bless her, it was so sweet. So that was very cute. Next up, I thought I would talk to you about my red carpet evening the other night, which was very surreal, very cool, very different to, my normal, what day was it? Was it Tuesday? My normal Tuesday evenings. So I just want to say a huge thank you before we begin to 3 incredible brands which very kindly dressed me and got me ready for the red carpet. So I had Stella McCartney who dressed me, so I had a beautiful dress from her and some boots and a bag, and I also had a lovely jacket as well because it is December. It was a little bit on the chilly side. And then Boodles very kindly gave me some diamonds and jewellery to wear, which were beautiful, and Short Kai also did my makeup. So yeah, starting off, head to London, where we went to Boodles first, and that was incredible, like seeing all the jewellery, getting to pick it out. In the end, I went for these like pearl earrings that also had like diamonds on, so I was like, the whole time I was walking around like, I cannot lose any of this jewellery, because when they showed me how much it all cost together, I was like, oh wow, okay, that's it, that is very different to the average price of, me walking around day to day of my outfit. But anyway, yeah, so Mimi from Boodles, which I actually met at a horse show back in 2021. So I've known her for quite a few years now, and I've been very kindly worn Boodles jewellery at quite a few different events now. So it was lovely to chat to her and get dressed in some diamonds basically, which was wild. And then after that we went to a Short Kai's new stall at John Bell and Croydon, which was very cool. And I had Diego, the makeup artist, who did my makeup for me. Now, this was actually, I think it was my first ever time having professional makeup done. I feel like nowadays, I feel like prom in the UK has become a lot bigger of a thing. Like, some people do get professional makeup artists to do their makeup and things for prom, which a bit like a wedding and all that kind of stuff, but I've never had anyone do my makeup before, so that was fun. One thing I didn't realise was it can be quite tickly, and I am a very ticklish person, so there were a few times where I was like, Esme, don't sneeze, or Esme, don't move or twitch, but I felt like I did quite a good job at sitting still for half an hour or so that was fun. Also, I decided to go for a smoky eye look because I'm not normally a smoky eye kind of gal, just because my makeup skills, I'm very good at doing makeup that's very in at the moment, like a clean girl makeup or makeup that's kind of very natural looking, that kind of thing. That's very much more my vibe. But I feel like I was like, you know what? We're going big. We're going red carpet. I also am not an eyeliner person either. I think it's because I have my eyes are slightly hooded, so whenever I do, or maybe I'm just bad at makeup, but whenever I do eyeliner, it always ends up looking like curly. Do you know what I mean? There'll be people out there and they'll be like, yeah, I know what you mean, girl. It just... I think it's more when I do a cat eye, so I just never do that. But anyway, Diego did my makeup beautifully. We went for a smoky eye as well, and it was a very dramatic look, very different to what I normally go for, which I wanted to do because this was kind of like a big event. So also, it looked so good, my makeup. It honestly looked, I thought when I looked at myself in the mirror, it looked like I had some sort of filter on my face, because that's the only other time I've seen full glam on my face. I'm going to do full glam with eyeshadow and things, but just not dark dark stuff, if you know what I mean. I normally go for like a shimmery silver or like a nice bronzy kind of look. But anyway, so that was really good fun. And then we went to the hotel and I got changed. And at first, oh my gosh, it took me a little while to realise how to put my dress on, because it actually kind of went in two pieces. So I had the dress on, which, so the main bit of the dress only covered one of my boobs. The other boob kind of had to be covered by this extra bit of cloth that I had to like put on and zip up. But if you go onto my social pages, you'll be able to see pictures of what the dress looks like if you're, if you're listening to this. But anyway, so you can see a little bit better what it looks like. I'm not very good at just describing things. It was kind of like an asymmetrical dress, which was very different, but I loved it. It was in this like black satiny kind of material too. I was going to say silk, but it wouldn't have been silk because all of Stella McCartney's stuff is vegan, which is very, very cool. So all of the bags, like a vegan leather and that kind of thing, which are made from plants, which is very cool. But anyway, so yeah, I looked very different to my normal attire in muddy wellies and a coat or like a rain jacket kind of thing. So I had an incredible evening. So I arrived, went up the red carpet, they had all the cameras there, and when I tell you, this was definitely the biggest red carpet. I mean, I haven't been to many red carpets. You know, this is not my normal evening, as I said before. But there were a lot of cameras, and there were probably about 6 or 7 different spots I had to stand in, and then for each spot there were probably about 10 or 12 cameras that were taking your photo, and people would like I think there was one person that shouted my name. Everyone else was like, who is this kid? But anyway, so people would like shout like over here, and then like you'd try and like look at each camera, so each photographer could try and get a photo of you actually looking at the camera. So that was quite overwhelming, having so many people kind of shout and all the bright lights and the cameras and that kind of thing. So that was interesting. And then, I went on all the different spots. And then my friend Lydia tried to take some like photos of me like on the red carpet. And then she actually, they were like, oh yeah, go and have your photo taken as well. But she was like, I'm just the +1. I don't need my photo taken. They're like, no, up you go. So she had her photo taken. And she was like, Esme, I did not sign up for this. But she had great fun. It was really lovely that I got to take Lydia as my +1 as well, which is, I've been friends with her since we were 11. Like we literally like went to the same secondary school in year 7. So we've been friends for a long old time now, like over 10 years. Oh my gosh, that is actually wild when you think about it. But anyway, because we're both 22 now, so 11 years basically. So that was really, really cool. And also, I never really like to talk about other people on the podcast that aren't like my immediate friends or family, because I always feel like it's a bit weird. But we saw a few other like TikTokers, YouTubers, that kind of things there. There were a few like actors as well that we recognised from other bits and bobs that were also in the show. So that was quite cool. But one of the things that like kind of, I wasn't starstruck at all, because I feel like because some people get starstruck over me and I'm like, I'm just a girl, I'm just a human, like, so I think nowadays I'm just like, they're just a human, you know, we're just all humans, like everyone should be treated the same. But anyway, so I saw a YouTuber and I was actually standing next to her in the queue for the red carpet, and I ended up chatting to her for a little bit because we ended up going in this queue to have our photo taken at a different thing. I don't want to say her name just because, I don't know, I just find it weird talking about other people when they're not in the room. Does that make sense? Unless they're like my friends and family and they're like, yeah, talk about it on the podcast, it's all good. But anyway, so I saw her there, and you know, I didn't be like, I was just like, you know, normal person, like, hi, there's me, nice to meet you, like chatted along. But that was wild because I used to watch her before I had my own YouTube channel. So that was pretty cool. She's been in the social media game for a long old time. So that was pretty cool. And she was very nice. We had a little chat and everything. But obviously it wasn't that long. It was all just kind of like small talky kind of stuff. And then, I went into this like another room for more photos where they had this kind of camera on like a train track. I think it's the best way I can describe it. And you know, I feel like it was a real thing. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the Met Gala back in 2020 or 2019. All I remember is there's this iconic, I think it was Ariana Grande, and it was the slow-mo of that thing of the camera that moves, and it was to that Doja Cat song. Anyway, they had one of those like camera machine things where they kind of move in slow-mo and you have to like do moves, and I feel like I was probably a little bit awkward because they were like, oh yeah, like swish around, and my dress wasn't very swishy, it was more kind of bodycon, so I was like, I'll swish the best I can, like tried to do some moves, but I was like, with those sort of things, I feel like if you go, you have to go all in, because if you do it like slightly awkwardly, or like, oh, I'm a bit nervous, or I'm a bit uncomfortable, and you kind of just do like a little bit of a move, that looks more awkward than if you just go all in, be like, okay, I'm just gonna have to take in my inner supermodel, which is not me at all, like try and pretend I'm, you know, Taylor Swift, that kind of thing. Like I just tried to do the best I could. So anyway, and then we went in, and then there was another place inside to have your photo taken, so lots of photo opportunities. And then me and my friend Lydia, we walked in, and it was like this huge hall, and they had this kind of exhibition of all of the costumes that they used for the show, so all the way from season 1 to the season finale, and that was really cool, spotting bits from the show. And it was very interesting. They had a few interactive things as well. They had like a little phone that you could pick up and listen to, like they had little clips on little TVs. They also had quite a lot of props as well, through all the different kind of eras that the Crown. Oh yeah, I haven't actually told you what the red carpet was for. It was for the Netflix season finale of The Crown. So that was very cool. So they had a lot of actors, from all of the seasons. I'm not actually allowed to tell you legally. They were like, don't say anything about what we watched in the cinema. Oh, I haven't even wait rewind. So when we walked into the cinema or the auditorium, before you walk in at these kind of things, they often very kindly give you like snacks. So I was like, yes, this is perfect, because they had a little drinks reception beforehand, and then they had like a little bag with popcorn and water in, and me and Lydia were like, great, love a bit of popcorn. Like I feel like that is one of my favorite snacks. I feel like popcorn is just such an easy snack to have. I feel like this is a serious question here now, guys. I feel like people are either a sweet or a salty popcorn kind of person. I would say if I had to pick one, I'd say I'm probably more on the sweet side, but I do love a sweet and salty combined, and I'm pretty sure the popcorn was sweet and salty, so sorry, I had to have a little snack interlude. We talked about snacks last week's episode. Got to talk about snacks again. Anyway, so me and Lydia were like, oh my goodness, we have hit the jackpot here. We are in the best seats in the house, because we were asked like where we go, and somebody said, oh, to enter you need to go up to floor 5 or whatever it was. So we went up to floor 5, walked on through. The person checked our tickets and was like, oh yeah, you're C17. You go over here. And we're like, great. Went and sat down in our seats. So basically, you know how in theatres there's kind of like a bottom floor, and then there are like top floors. We were in the top floor, but at the front. So we were like front seats, brilliant, right at the top. Couldn't ask more. Anyway, so we were sitting there for a good, I'd say 20 minutes. We got in there quite early because it was getting really, really busy, where everyone was kind of being held for the drinks reception kind of thing. So actually, before that, sorry guys, you know me, I like to bounce around with these podcast episodes. There was one little balcony bit that we went to, and we stood there, and we thought we kind of ended up doing a bit of celebrity spotting, because basically they have the red carpet for all the content creators or people that are invited, and famous, interesting people, that kind of thing. And then they have the red carpet for these are the A-list celebrities, people in the show, that kind of thing. And we got to where we were standing on the balcony, we could see them on the red carpet and being interviewed by all the TV cameras and that kind of thing. So that was very cool. We could kind of see what was going on there. But anyway, sorry, that was before we went in the auditorium. That was a bit of a long word as well. Bit of a mouthful. Anyway, so we were sitting on our seats, up high, for about 20 minutes. We drank all of our water, eaten all of our popcorn as well, because we hadn't had any dinner. We had I was going to say we had a late lunch. We had a normal time lunch, actually. But anyway, so yeah, we were getting a bit hungry, so we ate all of our popcorn. And then this guy came over, and he was like, oh, I'm really sorry, but I think I'm in your seats. Now, we were kind of where we were. It was quite a lot of older people. So we thought, oh, maybe we are not in the right place, because we thought, oh, maybe we'd be put with all the other kind of young content creators and that kind of thing. It's the sort of people that were there. We thought these were probably the people that were very highly skilled and have been in the media business for ages. So people that maybe were doing the sound or the production or I don't know, stuff like that. So we were like, oh, maybe we are in the wrong place. Looked at our tickets and realised that ours were exactly the same, but ours said like the floor on it and we didn't realise. So anyway, went down because somebody said to go up high, so that's, anyway, we got a bit confused. So that was the embarrassing thing. We were in the wrong seats. There had to be one thing that went wrong, but we kind of finessed the system because we went down to the floor and we were looking around and we were like, oh my gosh, where is our seat? And I actually almost walked past our seats because I thought, oh, it's going to be like right along, because the lady said it's like there's like, there's like little gaps in between the seats where you can go up. She said, oh, go to like the second gap. So I was walking on by and I stopped because there was some TikTokers taking photos right at the front. And then Lydia turned to me and was like, Ez, our seats are here. And I was like, what? And I realised our seats were right at the front, right in the middle. So that was wild. That was so cool. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah. And then on our seats, there was popcorn and there was water. So we got double popcorn and double water. So yeah, that was incredible. They also had a band which were there, and they did like a kind of season recap right at the beginning, because obviously it was a long time ago that season 1 came out. So they did a bit of a recap, a bit of a montage, and the band actually played the music live. So there was like a few bits of like talking in the scenes, but yeah, all the music was just the band, which was so cool. I love a live performance, live band, or orchestra. Sorry, band sounds a little bit more rock and roll, doesn't it? It was an orchestra. Sorry, orchestra definitely sounds more fancy. Anyway, so that was very cool. And then they had after the montage, they moved all the instruments and all the band out the way. Sorry, the orchestra out the way, and then they had a lady presenting it, did a little chatty bit, and then they had the main cast come up on stage. So again, we were front center, so we had a great view of all the cast, all the famous faces, and so that was very, very cool. They all did like a little interview, a little talky bit, and then a lot of my friends, when I've been talking to them about it, have asked me like, oh, like what do they show you when it's a season? Because I guess when it's a movie, you watch the whole movie, but with a season, like what do they show you? I've only been to 2 before. The first one that I went to, they just showed you the first episode because that was a brand new series, so it was the first episode, season 1, episode 1. But because this was a season finale, they actually showed us the last ever episode. So the last episode. So nobody had actually seen the beginning of that season or that series yet. So and a lot of my friends were like, did that not make sense? But I guess with The Crown, I guess if you're British, you probably know a lot of the history anyway. So you could tell, like, and I mean, if you'd seen all the previous series, you would know like who's who, and even if you hadn't, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to tell like who's who and that kind of thing. So I'm not allowed to tell you, unfortunately, what happens in it, but to be fair, I don't want to be one of those people that gives spoilers. But it was quite emotional right at the end as well, especially being about the Queen and that kind of stuff. So it was a bit emotional. There was quite a few like tears in the house. So no, it was very, very good. I really enjoyed it, and my friend Lydia hadn't actually seen many of the episodes. I hadn't seen like the whole series, and she really enjoyed it as well. She was like, I'd say the last series is very different to like the first series. Season. I'd say the first season was very, very like serious, and then compared to the last season, there were like a lot of jokes, and it was really lovely because it's like a big audience. You could like hear everyone laughing at the jokes, which I always think is so nice, especially when you go to places like the cinema and seeing everyone's reactions to the show. But anyway, I had a lovely, lovely time. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Netflix UK and also to Meta, who very kindly invited me. But yeah, that was very different from a normal Tuesday evening. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed hearing about what I've been up to in the last week. I feel like there's been quite a few things. But yeah, before we finish, I just want to say a huge, huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast. And also, I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys for listening to the podcast as well. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye!